Praise the Lord, Summit Kids Ministry. Thank you for joining us for another week of remote learning. My name is Brother Matt, and this week we're in our second lesson of our 5-part series entitled Christian Living. Today our lesson is on keeping our eyes on God so that we don't fall into trouble. The lesson today is based off a verse that's found in Hebrews 12:12, and it states, "Let us look only to Jesus. He is the one who began our faith, and he makes our faith perfect. Jesus suffered death on the cross, but he accepted the shame of the cross as it were nothing. He did this because of the joy that God put before him, and now he is sitting at the right side of God's throne." Hebrews 12:2. Have you ever been in the middle of a thunderstorm before? Lightning and thunder can be really scary, especially if there's no grown-ups around. Today, we're going to read a story about a man named Peter who was stuck in the middle of a thunderstorm and was terrified. However, for a small portion, he had no fear. So today, as we read our Bible story found in Matthew chapter 14, verse 23 through 32, I want to see if you can figure out where Peter got that courage from. So with that, let's get straight into it. Today, our Bible story is Jesus walks on the water. This is found in Matthew chapter 14, verse 22 through 32. Then Jesus made his followers get into the boat. He told them to go ahead of him to the other side of the lake. Jesus stayed there to tell the people they could go home. After he said goodbye to them, he went alone up into the hills to pray. It was late and Jesus was there alone. By this time, the boat was already far away on the lake. The boat was having trouble because of the waves and the wind that was blowing against it. Between 3 and 6 o'clock in the morning, Jesus' followers were still in the boat. Jesus came to them. He was walking on the water. When the followers saw him walking on the water, they were afraid. They said, "It's a ghost," and cried out in fear. But Jesus quickly spoke to them. He said, "Have courage, it is I. Do not be afraid." Peter said, "Lord, if that's really you, then tell me to come to you on the water." Jesus said, "Come." And Peter left the boat and walked on the water to Jesus. But when Peter saw the wind and the waves, he became afraid and began to sink. He shouted, "Lord, save me!" Then Jesus reached out his hand and caught Peter. Jesus said, "Your faith is small. Why do you doubt?" After Peter and Jesus were in the boat, the wind became calm. As we try to keep our eyes on Jesus, the devil's going to do everything he can to distract us. He wants us to look the other way, but if we do, we run the risk of falling into temptation. When Peter took his eyes off of Jesus, he began to sink in the water and became very afraid. The lesson that we learn from this is not that we can walk on water, but instead that if we keep our eyes on Jesus, we'll be able to do anything that he wants us to do. So with that, I hope that you continue to have a safe week at home, continue to participate in the remote learning exercises that we have for you online, and we'll see you next week. God bless you.